Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In the last video, we did question 5 of the chapter 2, and it was what kind of luck did Brookfield have? Now we are going to discuss the question 6. You can see the question right now on the screens, and it is, what was the status of Brookfield School? This question 6 is actually similar to that of the question 5, and it has almost the same answer. So let's discuss. Question का मतलब यही है कि ब्रुकफील्ड ने कैसा स्टेटस एंजॉय किया, ब्रुकफील्ड का क्या स्टेटस था, मर्तबा था, रुतबा था, ठीक है। तो लास्ट क्वेश्चन यही था कि कैसी लक थी ब्रुकफील्ड की. सो दे आर क्वाइट similar to each other. Let's find out. Here we are on the chapter 2 of the novel, and you can see this part that has been already discussed. So you can start from here. Instead of the school, you can write Brookfield went up and down, dwindling almost to non-existence at one time, becoming almost illustrious at another. And then you can write from here, Weatherby, who came in 1840, restored its fortune somewhat, but its subsequent history never raised it to front-rank status. It was nevertheless a good school of the second rank. So this is actually the status or rank of Brookfield, that it was never raised to the front rank status, but however it was considered a good school of the second rank. I hope students you have understood the answer. Let's see the next question. Question number 7 is, what kind of man was Mr. Chips in his early 20s? यानी कि जब वो अपने 20वें साल के पर्सनालिटी थी, किस किस्म के आदमी थे? So please see this answer here on the page number 4. And if you don't have the same book, then this is just in the start of the chapter 2. We are told about the personality of Mr. Chips in his early 20s. This is the place. Let's start from here. It had taken him some time to realize this at the beginning. Not that he was boastful or conceited, but he had been in his early 20s as ambitious as most other young men at such an age. So the question was, what kind of man was Mr. Chips in his early 20s? The answer lies here. Mr. Chips had been in his early 20s as ambitious as most other young men at such an age. यहाँ पे आप इसको इस तरह भी start कर सकते हैं. In his early 20s, Mr. Chips had been as ambitious as most other young men at such an age. I hope the answer is clear. See the next question. What were the limitations of Mr. Chips, and how did he realize the inadequacy of his qualifications? The inadequacy of his qualifications. क्या limitations थी जिनका सामना था मिस्टर चिप्स को? क्या उनकी हदूद थी और कैसे उन्होंने इसको realize किया? How did he realize the inadequacy of his qualification? कैसे उनको एहसास हुआ कि उनकी तालीम जो है वो नाकाफ़ी है? It's an important question about the personality of Mr. Chips. And the answer is here. Use the highlighter. It was only gradually, after repeated trials and failures, that he realized the inadequacy of his qualifications. His degree, for instance, was not particularly good, and his discipline, though good enough and improving, wasn't absolutely reliable under all conditions. So, with reference to the education, this is the direct reply that his degree was not particularly good. And if we talk about the general limitations, then that discipline was another issue with him. It was not absolutely reliable under all conditions. उनका discipline जो था इतना कोई काबिल भरोसा नहीं था तमाम हालात में. And moreover, this was his limitation as far as the social status is concerned. सोशल स्टेटस से मतलब है कि माशरे में जो उनका क्या मुकाम था. ही हैड नो प्राइवेट मीन्स एंड नो फैमिली कनेक्शंस ऑफ एनी इम्पोर्टेंस. कोई अहम जो थे उनके कनेक्शंस नहीं थे. कोई अपने ज़ाती उनके पास ज़राए नहीं थे. मतलब आप खुद ही साउंड होते हैं अगर अपने फैमिली बैकग्राउंड की वजह से यू आर ऑलरेडी financially sound, or you have some important family connections serving or having a special status in the society. मगर मिस्टर चिप्स का ना तो कोई अपने प्राइवेट मीन्स थे, कोई ज़ाती ज़राए भी नहीं थे इनकम के, कोई इसके अलावा उनकी प्रॉपर्टी वगैरह भी नहीं थी. एंड ही हैड नो important connections of any with in his family. सो ये दो क्वेश्चंस इस तरह डील होते हैं. एक तो ये क्वेश्चन जो हमने अभी किया है कि मिस्टर चिप्स की लिमिटेशंस क्या थी और उनको अपनी एजुकेशन की नाकाफ़ी होने का कैसे एहसास हुआ. तो ये उसका एक आंसर है. एंड इसका एक और क्वेश्चन भी बन सकता है कि ऑल्दो आई हैव नॉट मेंशन्ड हियर, सो it was that what kind of social and academic status Mr. Chips enjoyed. We can let's add here. So what kind of academic and social status did Mr. Chips enjoy? So this can also be the possibility. And for both answers, in दोनों जवाबों को देने के लिए आपको दोनों जवाब के लिए you will have the same material. That it was only gradually or just after repeated trials and failures Mr. Chips realized the inadequacy of his qualifications. His degree, for instance, was not particularly good, and his discipline, though good enough and improving, wasn't absolutely reliable under all conditions. Discipline की बात हो गई, education की बात हो गई. He had no, moreover, social status यहाँ पे discuss हो रहे. He had no private means and no family connections of any importance. So this is the answer. I hope students आपको समझ आ गई है. Let's move to the next question. Number 9. Describe Mr. Chips' status at Brookfield in his 40s, 50s and 60s. अब हमने इसमें सारा बताना है कि 40s में उनका क्या था मकाम, 50s में क्या था और 60s में क्या था. ये भी आंसर हमें अभी नेक्स्ट ही मिल जाएगा. This is the answer. At 40, he was rooted, settled and quite happy. तो ये उनकी पोजीशन थी at the age of 40. At the age of 40, he was rooted, settled and quite happy. At 50, he was the doyen of the staff, like he was in charge of the staff, you can say. At 60, under a new and youthful head, he was Brookfield, the guest of honor at old Brookfieldian dinners, the court of appeal in all matters affecting Brookfield history and traditions. The court considered to be the court of appeal जहाँ पे final appeal की जाती थी किसी भी disciplinary issue के लिए या कोई भी matter जो affect करता था Brookfield को. उसकी हिस्ट्री को, ट्रेडिशंस को. Okay, this is the answer. I hope you understand. Let's move to the next question. Question 10. When did Mr. Chips retire and what was presented to him on his retirement? Simple question है, कब retire हुआ Mr. Chips, उनको क्या दिया गया? In 1913, when he turned 65, he retired. Or you can say he retired at the age of 65 in the year 1930. But still, since we have the answer here, why to bother about that? So in 1913, when he turned 65, he retired. And he was, then you can start a new sentence by just putting a full stop here and starting again the new sentence. He was presented with a check and a writing desk and a clock. This was what was given to him on his retirement. And if you want to add a further detail, you can again make another sentence. He went across the road to live at Mrs. Wickett's. So this was the answer of this last question. I hope students आपको chapter 2 में अभी तक जितने हमने सारे questions किए हैं और chapter 2 के important events को discuss किए हैं, सब कुछ समझ आ गया होगा. And these were the maximum possible questions so far. अगर आपको लगता है कि इसके अलावा भी कोई और अहम सवाल है जो कि होना चाहिए तो ज़रूर कमेंट्स में बताएं. I would really love to hear something from your side as well. So don't hesitate to share your comments, please. And if you're new here, don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video and subscribe. Plus click the bell icon. See you in the next video. Take care. Allah Hafiz.